Good afternoon. Welcome to the 6th class in our basic pool lessons. You've sat through how to talk a good game and look like you know what you're doing. Then we had stance and grip, bridge and stroke, follow and draw. And here we are at English, almost last class. The last class will be position, but you can't do position without English. So this is a fundamental piece of pool playing. Let's talk about what English is. Some people say English is any time the ball spins in any direction. No, that's okay. They like to talk about it that way. Here we talk about forward rolling and backward rolling as follow, draw. We talk about English as left and right. The best single piece of advice when using English is don't. So why are you here? You can now leave and go practice not doing it. Now, there's many good reasons not to do it, and a few good reasons to do it. But the reasons not to do it are more numerous and more significant. Good players, you'll find, use English 15 or 20% of the time. Most of the time, they don't need it and they avoid it. Why do they avoid it? Well, three major things. One is, if I hit this cue ball not in the center, but on the left or the right, hit it on the right here, where's the force going? Much of it's going straight ahead, but some of it's going this way, being pushed off to the side. As a result, the ball doesn't go straight ahead, it goes straight on an angle, off to the left a little bit. If this was an iron bar, the effect would be more pronounced. This is a special cue. It's hollowed out on the inside to make it very light. And it bends, and it sort of bends out of the way and reduces the amount of deflection. It's called a low deflection cue. Most of the cues you'll find here are just standard cues. They're solid. They have a little more deflection. But it's a bad thing because that deflection can make you miss by this much on your shot. And you've got no chance when that happens. So when you use English, that happens. The more English you use, the more it happens. So that's one bad thing that happens. Another thing is that the curved cue ball does not travel in a straight line, especially on a long shot. Cue ball will actually curve. And that's very distressing unless you're allowing for it. And the longer the shot is, the more it curves. And you don't want to try to hit something with a curving ball. And the third thing that happens with English is that you throw the object ball. When you hit a ball straight ahead, it goes straight ahead, right in the middle. But if there's right-hand English, it spins throws the ball off to the left. You can throw it off about 1 inch every foot it travels. So if you're not aware of that, you hit an 8-foot shot, you might miss it by 8 inches. Now, when do these things happen, these bad things happen? Every time you use English. They all happen. And you can't avoid it. All you can do is compensate for it. The farther your shot, the more effect there is on all these things. And you just can't figure it out mentally. You have to practice and get a feel for it. So English is dangerous. Why then do we do it at all? Well, as I say, we don't do it if we can avoid it, for all those reasons. But there are times when it's very, very helpful to get position on something. The reason we use English almost 100%, 90% of the time, is to affect not the way the cue ball comes off this ball. It comes off the same direction, English or no English, left or right, but to affect where it goes off the rail. Because it's spinning when it goes into the rail. And what happens to a cue ball when it spins into the rail? I'm going to shoot this straight down the head string here, headline. And if I shoot it with no English, it should come right back to my cue tip. That is if I can get a straight shot. Okay. We talk about English in terms of tips. One tip of English. What the hell is a tip of English? Well, I put my tip right in the center of the ball and moved it over so that now the tip is entirely outside of the first position, right next to it. That's why I moved it over one tip. I'm that far off center. And that will make the ball spin. That's a modest amount of spin. can move it over as much as 2 tips, which will give it a lot of spin. You'll be practicing this, and you'll see for yourself it's different for different people. But let me give it 1 tip of spin, and it should come back about 1 diamond over. Center, there's 1 tip. Okay. Now if I give it 2 tips of English, it'll probably go about twice as far, maybe even fall in the pocket. Dead center, 1, 2. That's as far out as you want to hit it. Okay. And if I hit it 2 tips on the other side, it's going to go in here, or close to it. Center, 1, 2. Now I hit that slowly, had a big effect. If I hit that same shot hard, it'll have less effect. Center, 1, 2. So you can control where the cue ball goes off the rail with English. That's the main purpose. If you hit a soft shot, it'll have more effect. Why? Because the ball is in contact with the rail longer and the spin takes more effect. Now that is what you're going to do for practice. That's the first part, when you practice. I want you to get a feel for your own technique and how it is, how far that cue ball moves. You should, after a while, be able to make the cue ball end up anywhere along here. That will be very helpful to you. The second part that you're going to do is just make a simple little shot and see where the ball goes off the rail after the shot. So set up something that you're not going to miss, probably. And let's hit this ball with no English and see where it goes. Where's it going to go? Well, it's going to come off at a right angle here, hit the rail, and come down here, somewhere around there, somewhere around that piece of paper.
Follow.
No English at all. Okay, it went here. Now, if I put that up and shoot it again, with right English, where's the cue ball going to go with right English? Not you, anybody else. Right English.
Right.
Is it going to go toward this, over here, or back here? One vote for here. Two votes for over there. Well, let's see. Right English. Just 1 tip for right English.
Whoa.
Okay, went way down here. And it traveled a little faster, because that was traveling English. Can you spot that one?
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. Now I'm going to hit it with left English. So you might expect that it would do the opposite, right? Come back this way instead of that. Let's see. The center, 1 tip. Okay, it came back way over here. And it didn't go very far. So with just 1 tip of English, you can make the cue ball go from here down to here. So you can cover most of the table. If you use 2 tips of English, it would go more extremely. Let's try that with the follow. I'm going to hit this with 2 tips of English, and it should come back even farther down there. 1, 2. Okay, it's the same shot every time, but you can put the cue ball all over the table. And with speed control, it can go other places as well. So that's the main purpose of English. And that's your second exercise. You're just going to set up this simple little shot and hit it with no English, with right and left, and see what happens. It'll be a little different for you than it will be for your neighbor. Everybody has a different stroke. After you've seen what happens, your job is to try to figure out how to make it go where you want it to go. So you know what the right and left will do after you've practiced it. Now apply it, because this is the basis for position. Making the ball go where you want to. And English is a big help, on the minority of shots. Most shots you don't have to do it, but some shots it's really very helpful. Those are your two practice shots. Now a little more advanced topics, which you won't be practicing, is throw and curve. Now those are the two things after deflection said were bad. Throw is bad, deflection, curve is bad. But it can be useful. If you throw the ball with English, the ball no longer goes straight, goes off to one side. I'm going to set this up. Here's a shot. Which cannot be made because the ball will go like this. But of course, if I hit it with some English, it won't go like this. It'll head over and go into the pocket. Which English do I need to use?
What?
Wrong.
Right.
Right. Right is right. So here we go. I use about 1.5 tips of English here. It didn't go very far. It could be, if I used more English, it could go even farther. But it did not go where it would have gone if I had used no English. And on a long shot, it can make a big difference. So many times you're in a position where you just can't quite see the shot because something's in your way, but with a little bit of English, you can make it go in anyway. Throw also happens when the balls are frozen. And what's frozen? Frozen is when two balls are in complete contact with each other. Frozen. Here's the same shot, which you're going to be practicing without an object ball. Got two balls frozen. Now, of course, if I hit straight ahead, they'll go straight ahead. If I want to make the 5 ball go off this way, I can do that with English. Which English would I use?
Right.
Right is wrong.
Left.
Left is right. Why?
Why does this happen?
Why does this happen? When this ball is spinning like that, and it touches this ball, it's as if the two balls were sticky or had teeth. This ball spins this way, rubs against that ball, and it spins the other way. So, when the cue ball is spinning this way, it's throwing the 5 ball off that way. And, well, just hit a gentle shot with not much English, and you'll see. So, they didn't follow each other. They went a long way off. And you can use this on a long shot. And you can just throw the heck out of it on a long shot.
Which English was
Let's
that?
see
What
if-
English did that, was that you used?
I used left English to make it go to the right. Because it was spinning this way. I do this all the time when I'm trying to figure it out. The cue ball is spinning this way, it's pushing the ball to the right. It's also making this ball spin the opposite direction.
Right.
So it pushes it to the right, and that opposite spin makes it come off even farther. So if I hit it with a fair amount of spin, I could actually probably sink the ball.
It's the right one.
Let's try it over here. I'll use right English. We'll put left English on this, so it'll be deflected, it'll be thrown off to the left, and the left English, bring it over here. Maybe. Okay, it comes close. You see the big effect it has. That's when the cue ball is frozen to an object ball. These things also happen if two object balls are frozen together. And you'll see this a lot in games when two balls are spotted. One's on this spot, and the other one's here. And usually that's hopeless, right? You're usually back here. But you can make a shot out of this using English. Now, it doesn't have as much effect when there's two balls like this and you're hitting it with the cue ball. But what will happen? I'm going to put left English on this. Yeah. It's going to put right English on this one. It's going to put left English on that one. Yeah, it actually happens. And the right English will throw it off that way and give it left. So this 14 ball is going to come off that way and go back toward that part. Now you don't believe it. Okay. It doesn't have quite that much effect, but probably I can come close to making it, or maybe make it on 2 banks. I'll hit it fairly hard to get it to go that far. Right English. Doing this left English. Right English. Remember that, Joe. Right English. Okay.
Nice shot.
Wow.
Nice shot.
So the English carries through 1, 2, even the 3rd ball. You know, which is the easier shot to shoot? A ball where your cue ball is rolling down the table, or a ball where the cue ball is hopping down the table? Of course, the one where it's rolling has got more control. So why would anybody shoot a ball that hops? Well, there are jump shots that some people do, but we don't do them here. It's bad for the table. But we do them here without realizing it. You can make this cue ball hop with almost no effort by just raising your cue butt an inch or 2. We tell you to get down low and keep the cue low, straight. And one reason is because if you just push it a little bit, the ball will start to hop. You can't see it. So let's put a dime out here. I'm going to shoot the ball right over the dime, and you'll hear it and see it move a little. Okay, the dime hopped a little. That's what should happen. It should roll right through. Now I'm going to take it, and instead of making a nice low shot, I'm going to raise the tip that much. Didn't hear it the first time. Hopped right over it. So, the ball actually jumped over the dime, that tiny little ridge. So, when you're using English or not, keep the cue low and stable like that. So, in summary, don't do it because the cue ball deflects, it curves, and it throws things. Do it if you want to control where the cue ball goes off the rail. Also, do it right when we're done here. Those 2 simple practices. Make the cue ball come off the rail straight into it and go left or right. Get a feel for how much it does it. And then shoot a simple shot with no English, left English, and right English a few times until you see what it does, and then make it do what you want it to do. That's a big first step. Once you start to doing that, you'll start to get a real feel for what it's like for the pros when they make the ball go exactly where they want it to. We can't do that, but we could get a lot closer than we are now with a little practice. Questions?
How do you make a draw?
How do you make a draw? That was the last class, but basically a draw, you hit the cue ball low with a nice smooth follow through, makes it spin backwards. Cue ball spins backwards, hits the ball, keeps spinning backwards and comes back. Now, you could teach a whole hour on how to do that. And a good player can draw it all the way down to the other end of the table or even farther. But that was last class. What else? Okay, in that case, thank you for attending and let's go practice.